What is going on, everybody? And before I even start, let me just go ahead and get this picture loaded up here, real quick. Picture there of Chuba Hubbard already on the field pregame as Carolina prepares to get ready for the Chicago Bears. Courtesy of our guy, Patrick Snyder, our hardworking photographer, getting everything ready to go there on the field in Chicago. But nevertheless, we are live. Charlotte Vibe is here. One half of the Charlotte Vibe is here. I'm Andre Cass today, here in Charlotte, in my lovely South Charlotte home. Chris Jenkins is in Chicago, currently on the road right now to the stadium. He is still probably about a half hour away or so before he makes his arrival to the stadium and ultimately onto the pregame show tonight. Of course, I don't know if anybody's been following up with him over the past couple of days, but on Tuesday, he had a video, an update video, of course, as he does throughout the week, keeping all of you guys out there informed. But he had a pretty raspy voice. I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but he was struggling during that 10-minute video that he had. But he powered through and he was able uh, to make it work, if you will. But yeah, it was something that caught my eye, and I texted him Wednesday, and I was like, "Hey, yo, are you good, bro? Everything all right in that whole situation?" And yeah, it just happens. It's that time of the year where you have some pretty significant swings in weather, right? It's freaking 80 degrees here in Charlotte. Up in Chicago, it's in the 40s. But I mean, yeah, he's been dealing with it for the past couple of days. Well enough to go tonight. I don't know if y'all saw my video on our Twitter page where I mentioned that he would be a game time decision in a joking manner, of course. But he will be on our pregame show towards the end, obviously, as he tries to preserve his voice for the postgame show, which we'll have immediately following this game tonight. And I say this game because, to be honest with you, let's just be real, right? This is not by any means a prime time matchup, right? The Panthers and the Bears, both teams not having uh, a good start to their season, if you will. The Panthers 1-7, the Bears 2-7. But there are a lot of storylines to this game that we will get to here in a bit. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that we are clear, right? We're here, Chris and I, and primarily me for now. We're here for all of you out there. So if you have something to say, if you have something that you want to get your mind off of or want to speak up about something, you are more than welcome to do so. That is why we have a link in our description of this video to go and hop on this broadcast and say hi to me and eventually Chris when he pops on here towards the end of the show, and just make your voice be heard. We are here for you. We want to hear what you have to say. That link is in the description as well. Keep on leaving those comments. We're already getting a lot of conversation in the comments section right now, and we will get to that here momentarily. And if you haven't already, hit the like button. This will tell people and will give our content more views and ultimately more opportunities for people to see what we do here at Charlotte Vibe and everything in between. And of course, to jump the line, if there are any super chats in the comments section, we will shout you out. And all our members who are tuning in right now, we got Tyrone Green showing up, already offering a prediction. 23-20 Panthers. Tyrone, my guy. I love the enthusiasm. We also have salutations and greetings from him, saying hi, what's up to Chris and I. So yeah, again, everybody out there, super chats are appreciated. We are independent media supported by all of you out there, Chris and I. We love what we do, and we do it because of you. And if you continue to support us, we will have more opportunities to get you content, to be able to travel to these away games like Chris is doing right now and to be able to give more giveaways as well. If you haven't found out about our giveaway opportunities, look in the description. There are more details involving that. Uh, Let me go ahead and hit up this comment here. This caught my attention from B Stallion. Let's get right into it real quick. I want to see what he has to say. Well, it's any given Sunday a team can win, and hey, it's Thursday, so this is the second game that we've had in a matter of a week. It's a short week, right? Unfortunately for the Panthers, this is probably their last true winnable game. So time to let it rip, play loose, and give it their all. Keep pounding. I am liking the enthusiasm from B Stallion. Hey, 100 on that one. I think this is probably one of the last games that we will play coming up in the schedule where on paper, I mean, right now on paper at least, the Bears are favored to win by 3.5 points. But this was the stretch, right? This 3-game stretch right here. The Bears, the Colts, and the Texans, where if Carolina can't find a way to at least win 2 out of those 3 games, then it would be deemed upon as a failure, right? I mean, if you don't win tonight, I mean, it is going to tell and reveal a lot about the people who are in that building. And ultimately, it's going to be ugly. But I'm not going to talk too much about that right now because I don't want to speak that into existence as of yet. We will get to predictions and how I feel about where things will go here momentarily. But first, let me go ahead and get started with the transactions. And this is a pretty unique timing in terms of them releasing or having any transactions on game day. Typically, it's done prior to the game, not actually on game day, but due to the short week and all the unique injury situations that Carolina has faced so far this season. This is some pretty significant moves, or there are significant moves that have been made here. So let's get into it. Let me go ahead and pop it up on the screen for you guys. Active Marquise Haynes for the first time this season. That is a big deal. Activated from injured reserve. Big deal, right? Because with Brian Burns being out with a concussion, CJ Henderson, of course, being the other guy that will be out tonight due to them being in concussion protocol. This move right here to get Marquise Haynes back on the active roster, you need it. He's a guy that has been on IR practically for the entire season and is a pretty good rotational player. I would say, honestly, looking at it right now, he's our second best pass rusher, dedicated pass rusher. You would say Derek Brown and Brian Burns are your 2 pass rushing capable players, your 2 best players that can do that. But in terms of dedication to rushing the passer, Marquise Haynes is definitely up there, right? And so when you look at the front 7 and what Carolina is going to have to work with tonight, and this will lead into our next transaction, elevated from the practice squad, or activated from the practice squad via standard elevation, EQ Leota is another guy that's going to be in that mix and in that rotation. So you got Marquise Haynes, EK Leota, Amari Barno, and DJ Johnson. Those are going to primarily be your 4 guys that are going to be chasing after Tyler Bagent tonight. And it looks like it's going to be Tyler Bagent, however you want to pronounce it. But he's going to be the guy starting for Chicago tonight with Justin Fields being doubtful with that hand injury still. So that's going to be much needed assistance with that group. And then finally, Mike Strachan, another practice squad elevation. There's a history there with Frank Reich. He played 2 seasons in Indianapolis with Frank Reich back in 2021 and 2022. Pretty tall and lanky receiver, 6'5", 220. I don't anticipate him to be a big factor, obviously, in tonight's game, but he will provide some depth at the wide receiver spot with DJ Chark. More than likely going to be out tonight dealing with a I believe it's an ankle injury, but he's more than likely going to be out for tonight's game, so that will allow for some depth with the wide receiver room. And we'll talk more about that here in a moment about where we could potentially see guys like Terrace Marshall and Jonathan Mingo stepping up. Those two players are going to be a focal point, and they're going to have more opportunities to potentially see some more action and get some more plays because of DJ Chark not being out there. So again, let's take a look at it one more time. Marquise Haynes activated to the active roster. He will be available for the first time this season. That is huge. Iku Leota and Mike Stryken are your two practice squad elevations now on the active roster for tonight's game. This news came at least a couple hours ago. Moves that came in, and the timing of it was pretty unique, just due in part with it being game day and them making those moves. So there you have it for the transactions for Carolina. Some pretty significant moves there for the team. So let's get into the two opponents here tonight. Let's talk about Carolina first and where they're shaping up right now. So Carolina entering their week 1-7 after falling to the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, a mere 4 days ago. That feels like it just happened yesterday, but again, it's a quick week, excuse me. So this will give them an opportunity to turn the page quickly and move forward. Chicago, meanwhile, entering Week 10, with a 2-7 record after losing to the New Orleans Saints 24-17. So two teams right now who are desperate for a win. They need something to go their way, and again, Chicago without Justin Fields in that game as well. Definitely a closer game than I would have anticipated. The Saints currently the division leaders in the NFC South, but surprisingly a relatively competitive game in that front. Chicago this season has an 0-2 record against the NFC South, so definitely a trend that we hope to continue tonight. If we win against them, we would have them at an 0-3 clip against the NFC South. So hopefully that trend holds up to be the case. All time, this will mark the 10th matchup between the two teams, with Chicago leading the series all time 7-3. The Bears lead the series in games played in Chicago. This is just regular season at 5-0. Of course, Carolina back in 2005 won a game in Chicago during that wild card victory, blowout, you name it, where Steve Smith just went off in that game. But that was the only time that Carolina won a game in Chicago. So hopefully that tide will change. Carolina last played Chicago in Carolina back in 2020. Chicago beating them 23-16. So that was in their most recent matchup. So hopefully things can go our way in terms of the numbers and in terms of the trends that we're seeing with that. So I'm going to load up a picture of Raheem Blackshear as we get rolling here with some interesting facts. Raheem Blackshear, a guy that has provided a spark in the return game, taken over for Amir Smith-Marset in the kickoff game, right? So he currently leads the league with a 36.8 yard average per kickoff return. Now, teammate Laviska Shenault ranks fifth, averaging 27 yards per return. Carolina is really the only team in the NFL to have two players in that top 10 rank. Against Indy, Raheem Blackshear really gave the Panthers some sparks in the kickoff game when they really needed it the most. I mean, there were multiple opportunities that he took advantage of last week when Carolina had really no momentum, right? And he was able to provide them a spark. And they're going to need that tonight, right? They need to have some advantages in field position. And there were numerous times last week where Carolina started in poor field position because of either turnovers or penalties, you name it. So with Blackshear, he needs to be a big part of what they do in special teams tonight in order for them to gain a little bit of an advantage. And to everybody that is leaving comments right now, keep at it. Y'all know what to do. I see a bunch filing in right now. I appreciate everybody who is tuning in right now. Let's keep smashing that like button. We're up to 16. Let's get that number up. Y'all know what to do. You are going at it. Let's keep at it, right? Adam Thielen is currently tied for the league lead with 20 receptions on third down. So he's tied with Puka Nacua in that statistical category, and he's sixth in the NFL in those receptions, resulting in a first down with 36. So Adam Thielen, really the only reliable member of this Panthers offense right now, and that continues to be the case heading into Week 10. There needs to be somebody, and we'll touch on this later, opposite of Adam Thielen, that can provide Bryce Young with another consistent receiving option, because right now with how it stands, I mean, it's pretty putrid with that particular group. If Adam Thielen is your guy that is currently leading that group with receptions, receiving yards, there has to be more variety in that group in order for this Panthers offense to not only be successful, but to just strike a fear in these defenses. And you look back at the tape, and I promise I'll be short with this because I'm rambling at this point now. But if you look at the tapes, particularly in last week's game, again, the Colts were not intimidated by any of the Panther weapons. Not intimidated by Thielen, not intimidated by Mingo, Marshall, Chark. They provide no vertical threat, and they just pressed up and they dared them to go deep and to try to get beat deep, and they just could not do it last week. And that's a disturbing trend that I will touch on more here in a little bit. As we move forward here, let's look at our top 10 rankings. And let me just be the first to tell you, don't be surprised by this, but Carolina does not have any top 10 rankings on the offensive side of the ball. That shouldn't be a shocker, right? Overall, they're 27th in offense, so that shouldn't surprise you there. They're in the bottom third of the league in pretty much every major offensive category, right? But the one thing that they're kind of decent at, and this is their highest ranking that they have, is 16th in third down efficiency. So they're right in the middle of the league in converting on third down. So hopefully that trend will continue tonight. We need to be able to not only convert on third downs, but extend drives. That's really the key one in this game tonight. Extend drives and keep our defense off the field and keep our defense in favorable positions. Speaking of that defense, there are two top 10 rankings that we have on the defensive side of the ball. So we are 8th in total yards allowed per game at 310 yards allowed. That's pretty good. But a lot of that is inflated because of the short fields that they're being handed to because of turnovers and miscues and mistakes, you name it. So there's some inflation there and some misleading leverage and numbers there just because of those reasons there. But this one is pretty good right here for Carolina, and this is always a key with any defensive game plan that you have. They are 6th in the NFL in third down efficiency. So that means they are getting off the field at a pretty good rate. And they're going to need that to work out in their favor tonight, because you don't want to be out there for extended periods of time. That's what hurt this defense early on in the season. If they're out there for long periods of time, ultimately the fatigue will wear on them and the attrition will set in, and they give up some pretty significant plays. That's what hurt them earlier in the season. That's something that could hurt them in this game tonight if they can't get off the field. Because Chicago, we can't downplay it. They do have some weapons on their side of the ball as well, and that we'll get into here in a bit. Some notable connections for both teams. And this is where all the storylines come in because there are quite a few. So let's get into it with Andy Dalton. He used to play for the Bears back in 2021. Kicker Eddie Pinheiro was a Chicago Bear for 1 year back in 2019. Panthers receiver Amir Smith-Marset spent time with the Bears back in 2021 before he was with the Chiefs. And here are the two big ones right here. Deontay Foreman was a Carolina Panther last year for us, now with the Bears. And DJ Moore. This one still hurts, right? I'm a big DJ Moore guy, and I was a big fan and supporter of him and everything that he brought to this team. He played with us for 4 years, and now he is a Chicago Bear. So definitely, it still pains me to see him wearing a different colored jersey because he was so good with us. And to see him in Chicago having relatively good success, it's good to see. But at the same time, it's like, man, that could have been with us, right? So nevertheless, it's definitely going to be interesting to follow those storylines tonight. And I'm a little worried about how well DJ Moore could be. He could be a problem tonight for Carolina, especially with the secondary situation there. Let's go ahead and touch on some of these comments and everybody who is out there. Thanks for tuning in. We have Allie Broderick, a regular. Welcome back. Welcome back to you, Allie. Thanks for tuning in. Tin Tizzy, a member of the Charlotte Vibe. What is going on, Panther Nation? Tin Tizzy, glad to have you on here tonight. Tyrone Green with another comment. Chuba, the only guy stepping up. He is definitely somebody who has earned the playing time that he is getting now. Miles Sanders has been quite the disappointment for the team. You give him that kind of contract, and the numbers haven't really supported the money that he got. But, I mean, if you look at the rest of the 2023 free agency class with Carolina, DJ Chark's been disappointing. Hayden Hurst has been disappointing. Miles Sanders has been disappointing. Really, the only, I guess, successful acquisition has been Adam Thielen. But, I mean, a good majority of the guys that we have brought in have been nothing short of a letdown. And it just sucks because these guys that we brought in, I mean, some of those contracts were pretty lucrative in terms of the compensation that they brought them in for. So it's Miles Sanders. He has time to turn it around, but he's leaving a lot of bad vibes for some of the performances or lack of performances that he's put up to this point in this season. My guy Darrell tuning in. What's going on? We should win this one. What's up, everyone? Good to see you on here tonight, Darrell. Tin Tizzy. What's up, Cass? What's up, Tin Tizzy? Hope you're doing well tonight. Glad to see you here on tonight's broadcast. Chomp Mop Tactical. I like that. That's a unique username. He's got the Bears winning 24-19. So we'll see. I mean, this is, let's just be real about it, right? As I said off the top of the show, I mean, this is not by any stretch of the imagination a primetime worthy game. If you're not a Panthers fan or a Bears fan, you're probably not going to watch this game. Let's just be real about it. I mean, if you're an NFL fan who wants to see Bryce Young and have the opportunity to see him really for the first time since the Monday night game on a national level, then maybe you could justify watching this game. But there's a caveat with it, right? You're going to see Bryce Young, yes, but you're also going to see Bryce Young on an offense that has failed him over the course of this season. So maybe this is a game where he puts out his best performance and he kind of shuts up the haters a little bit and kind of rebounds after the kind of performance he had last week. Who knows? But this is not going to be a firework affair. This is going to be an ugly game. Both offenses, I mean, I'll speak for Carolina, but it's just there's no substance there. I mean, you look at every major statistical category, and if I have the numbers pulled up here real quick, I mean, they're 28th in total yards, 24th in rushing, I mean, 28th in sacks given up. I mean, this is from Carolina's point of view. You look at the Bears; they're kind of middle of the pack in a lot of categories as well. Um, they are just not good at anything really, and part of it could be personnel. Part of it could be the play calling. You name it, but it's just so difficult to get excited for a game. And look what I have here. Speaking of which, from our guy Patrick Snyder on the field, Bryce Young getting ready on the field right now as he looks to rebound off of Sunday's performance. Um, he's looking ready to go. He's pretty focused and locked in. But I just, how do you market this game? All of you out there who are watching this broadcast, how do you market this game? It doesn't help that Justin Fields isn't available either, because that's like the other piece to the puzzle that you could use to try to advertise this game and to get everybody hyped up. But it's like Bryce Young, that's really the only reason why you could watch this game. Everything else about it's like, it's you can't justify it. You can't justify it. I mean, yeah, the storylines are there. DJ Moore going up against his former team, who could have a big performance today. Deontay Foreman going up against his former team. There's substance there. But again, you just look at the numbers. Carolina, 28th in total yards. The Bears, 30th in sacks allowed on their offense. Points per game, 27th in the league for Carolina, 19th in the league for Chicago. I mean, you're probably going to see like a 20-17 game if you're lucky. Who knows? But to me, it's going to be difficult if you are a casual fan trying to get yourself excited for this game tonight. Tyrone Green with a prediction 23-20 Panthers. This game will come down to field goals. I think it is going to be a close game. Vegas has this game at a 3.5-point favorite going to Chicago. So it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, you have that going for you if there's a reason to watch this game. But let me just say this with the two quarterbacks, right? With Badgett and Bryce Young. And this is something that I was reading up on earlier in the day. Both quarterbacks are coming off of 3 interception games, right? Bryce Young with his 3 against the Colts, Badgett against the Saints with his 3. So both are coming off of poor performances. So it's going to be interesting to see how both react to a game like that and how they respond. For Bryce Young, he hasn't had that one game where you're like, okay, this is why Carolina drafted him. And I expect him to get it together and to put up a pretty big performance because, hey, this is a primetime game. The nation's watching. They're going to try to watch at least. But this is this opportunity to try to shut up some of the noise and some of the narratives that are being thrown around Bryce Young and hey, should they have taken Bryce Young over CJ Stroud? Should Stroud be a Panther? Yada, yada, yada. Look, the arguments are there, and you can see either side of the argument. But if you want this argument to go in your favor, you need to have a stellar performance tonight. And it's going to be a tough ask, obviously, because, I mean, your offensive line hasn't protected you. I mean, you're in the bottom of the league, basically, in sacks given up at nearly 30 up to this point in this season. Receivers who can't separate. There may be some parity tonight with DJ Chark not being in the picture. But, hey, there has to be some give and take here. And Bryce Young's going to have to perform here tonight. And I think we have somebody who is ready to join the show. Let me go ahead and bring him on. I just got the chime in my right ear. Let's go ahead and bring him on board. Look who it is, everybody. Who is that man to my right?
Right. Okay. Can I be seen?
You are seen. You are seen. Let me turn up your volume because you're a little low on my end. But otherwise than that, you are seen and you are ready to go.
I'm gonna try to get under the light here in the car.
Okay.
So, how's it going, man?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. Having some healthy conversations. A lot of comments in the comment section. So far, so good. How are you holding up on your end?
I think I'm okay.
You sound a little tired.
Eventually, I'm gonna get. Well, the voice has been gone, so
Right.
I don't know how much of it I can give right now before it starts crackling again. But I'm on my way to Soldier Field. I'm on the highway. I've been on the highway for about an hour and 15 minutes now.
We're looking like we're having some connectivity issues on Chris's end. We'll give him a second to pop back on. You still there?
Yeah, am I back?
You are back. You were just a little choppy there, but you are back now. I think he is frozen again, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see. You can see that?
There we go.
All those cop cars? Can you see that?
I can see it.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know if that's a good enough angle right there. So yeah, I don't know if this has to be like a presidential thing here, and I know this is not football talk. This may be. If you look now, here comes a bunch of blue lights and things. Communications units, more police cars. I've probably seen about 30 police cars go by, and I saw a bunch of black vehicles go by. So,
oh gosh.
For those who may be more politically knowledgeable than me, I feel like the president's in town because the other side of the highway has been blocked off. I haven't seen anything but cop cars. But nevertheless, before my voice goes away and before my signal dies, Panthers versus the Bears takes place tonight. On the flight up, I was lucky enough to be on the same flight with Joe Person of The Athletic and Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer. There were also, honestly, a number of Panther fans on that flight up as well. And
oh, wow.
In full black and blue. So I know the Roar and Riot group travels well. I don't know if they were part of that group or just independent people, but I feel like we're going to have a decent amount of Panther fans here in attendance tonight. And I don't know if you talked much about the predictions, and I'm just going to get this all out and get off because I can feel my voice getting kind of weak. I know we had Marquise Haynes that got activated today. I don't feel like that's going to be much of anything. The guy hasn't played football all season long. It's week 9 or 10. I forget exactly which one we're in.
Yep, week 10.
So I feel like they got him there because he'll be a better guy than maybe some of your newer guys to sub in. But I couldn't imagine that Marquise is going to get like 25 plays in tonight and be a major impact because he's going to be winded. He hadn't played. But nevertheless, after the game, hopefully my voice will still be here enough. We'll do a full post game show with you. I'll be on the field, and yeah, that's all I can give you, man. The voice is going out.
All right, we'll take what
All
we
right,
can
we'll
get.
take what we can get.
That was some pretty good
That was some pretty
analysis
good
for
analysis for
multitasking and
multitasking
driving
and
and talking at the same
driving and
time.
talking at the same time.
And my
But
wife
yeah,
has texted me to get off. My wife has texted me to get off the phone while driving.
I might have to kick.
But
I
I'm
might
not
have
gonna
to.
get.
I might have to kick you off. I gotta follow the wife's wishes.
Hey, but lastly, I want to say this: we got the Bryce Young jersey that we're going to
Yes.
be giving away. We're giving away a jersey once a month, and also hit the like button if you're watching and you're in admiration of me trying to make the show while I'm driving with a laptop in my lap and the president going by. I think that's worth a like. So hit the like button for Man of the People. I'll talk to you guys later.
Hey, I think all that commotion was all for you, man. They all know that you're coming to the stadium and they're trying to get everybody out of the way so you can make it there safely.
I like it. See you later.
All right, my guy Chris Jenkins on the way to Soldier Field. And yeah, let me just go ahead and touch base on what he said in relation to Marquise Haynes, right? So, with Brian Burns being out tonight, he's going to be in the rotation. Obviously, we don't know how much of it is he going to be in there, but you're going to have a rotation of Marquise Haynes, DJ Johnson, Amari Barno, and Aliku Leota, right? Those four guys have not done anything yet. Obviously, with Haynes, he hasn't played. With Leota, he hasn't been on the active roster. So with DJ Johnson and Amari Barno, yeah, there's been some opportunities there, but they have not put up really any significant numbers as of yet. So while it's good to have Haynes back out there, yeah, who knows what kind of impact he's going to have, especially with this being his first game back this season, and we're in week 10. So it kind of just comes down to how healthy is he and how conditionally ready is he. So we'll have to see as we move forward with some of these comments here from Nadar Ashafar. I hope I pronounced that name right, by the way. Roast me in the comment section if I didn't. We are going to win this game. King Bryce will have 3 touchdowns. Go Panthers. Hey, that's what we're hoping for. We want a Bryce, Alabama-like performance tonight. That would make everything worth it. Eddie for the win in Chicago. That could happen tonight. We'll see what happens there if it gets down to it. Chance Hines, keep pounding. Let's get win number 2. Let's make it happen because my mental health Mondays could be mental health Fridays now with this potential losing streak that we could go on again. I don't even want to put that out there right now. Supernova Moore saying what up, Big Andre? What's good, brother? I'm doing all right. I hope you are. We're getting ready for this game here tonight. About to see this man right here hopefully put up 3 tutties. I'm being optimistic, but we do want to win. That's the whole purpose. Win on Sundays, win on Mondays, win on Thursdays, whatever day it may be. We just want to win. This is what B-Dog is saying as well. Just get a W because, hey, that's what it's all about. Tizzy, man, I wish I had you guys' faith in this team, LOL. Look, I consider myself pretty optimistic, and I try to have a glass half full compared to half empty kind of approach. But yeah, it's a challenge, right? Like when you look at the tape from the Colts game and you just see how bad they are on the offensive side of the ball and how much of a personnel deficiency they have, deficiencies, surrounding Bryce, like the inability to block, the inability to stretch the field, the lack of imagination. And part of the ability to have openness in your offense is having time to throw the ball and having plays that don't take forever to, open up and, develop. And time after time again, you see the plays that they call and you see the lack of fear that opposing defenses have with our skill position players. It becomes infuriating to watch. And it's a week by week thing, no matter who the play caller is. When you don't have the pieces and when you don't have the time to get those pieces involved, and the pieces that are there just aren't getting the job done, you're going to have similar results. And that's been the one thing that's been consistent is our inconsistencies on offense. But nevertheless, Tyrone Green doing my job for me. Hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Hit us up. We got a link in the description. We want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. What y'all thinking about tonight's game, right? Rodney W saying, what's good, Andre? What's good, Rodney? Good to have you on. Chance Hines, good to have you on as well. Thanks for tuning in. Alec Oven says that he sees a strip sack coming. I don't know from who, but I see it now. Are you saying in reference to the Panthers or to the Bears? Because I know the Bears have just picked up Sweat from the Commanders, right? They just made a trade for him. Marquez Sweat. Am I blanking on the name? But they just picked him up in the trade deadline, so he's going to be somebody that is going to add to the pass rush of that front line for them. So that's going to be interesting to watch tonight to see how Carolina handles their front seven, because they haven't had much success handling really anybody's front seven up to this point in this season. They're like 27th in the league in sacks given up on offense, so that's a pretty big problem. Chris Mack saying, what's up? How are we feeling about the Panthers today? I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I do feel like if we play well defensively and handle DJ Moore, Deontay Foreman, Darnell Mooney, because they do have weapons in Chicago. It's not like they have no talent. But if we can contain what they do offensively, and if we can play mistake-free football, meaning no turnovers, no penalties, kind of have the same blueprint that we had in the Texans game, if we can display that tonight, I think we could have favorable odds. And I'll offer my prediction here towards the end of the broadcast. Tyrone Green saying Tepper and Fitterer is our problem. Definitely David Tepper. He's the common denominator. He's been here the longest. Fitterer is approaching that line of longevity and lack of success to go with that longevity. So their seats are definitely getting hot. Obviously with Tepper, I mean, he's very impatient, and his impatience can sometimes bite him in the rear end. I mean, he fired Charlotte FC's coach after a playoff run. I mean, he likes firing people, but he also doesn't like sustained success, and that's pretty apparent in, especially with how the Panthers have, fared out so far this season. Chuba going to get 75 or more yards tonight. Yeah, I think that's a big, big key. Carolina needs to run the football tonight effectively, but they're going up against a tough unit with the Bears. They are fourth in the NFL with nearly 80 rushing yards given up and rushing yards per attempt. They are first in the NFL at just over 3 yards allowed. So they're going to have to really be stubborn, if you will, in terms of sticking with the run game and sticking with that balance on the offensive side of the ball, because this defense is rough, man. They got to be able to set the tone early, line of scrimmage. They got to dictate the terms of the agreement there. T. Thompson, fire everyone. I am so sick of this BS. I would be in favor of that if we finish the season like what, 3-14, 4-13. Hell, if we don't even win another game, there is gonna be more fuel to that fire. At the bare minimum, I feel like a front office move may have to be made at the end of the season. But if they lose tonight and they lose in an embarrassing fashion, that timeline could very well be moved up rather quickly. Shannon Taylor. Here, let's make this a little bigger because I can barely read that. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, no. I guess that's the biggest we can go there. But yeah, let's go. Keep pounding. Don't care if we don't win any more games. I'm still going to watch every last game to the end. That is dedication. Carolina Panther fan for life. I believe that's what it says there. But yeah, I love the loyalty. I love the enthusiasm there because obviously, it's been a tough season. But, through thick and thin here at the Charlotte Vibe, we are definitely, turn that off real quick. We're definitely going to be rooting for them no matter what, no matter the circumstance, because that is what we do. That is what we're all about here at the Charlotte Vibe. We want to make sure that whether we win or lose, whatever it may be, we're always going to be here for all of you out there who are tuning in. Taima Jenkins, is that who I think it is? What's going on? Glad to have you on here tonight. Your husband is safely in the stadium now. I just got word that he is in the building. But yeah, he is doing his thing up there. Good to have you on here tonight, Mrs. Jenkins. Kellen Beam. And again, I appreciate everybody who's leaving comments down in the comment section. We are loaded with comments here on this broadcast. I appreciate all the love and everybody who has tuned in so far. If Chark is out, hopefully Amir Smith-Marset will get some opportunities. I think he could. He's definitely going to break the rotation tonight with Chark being out. Your top three guys are obviously going to be Adam Thielen, Terrace Marshall, and Jonathan Mingo. And I think when you look at Jonathan Mingo and Terrace Marshall, they need to be those two guys need to be a big part of what they do tonight in the pass game, right? Terrace Marshall, not really a speed guy, but more of a get the ball, jump ball kind of situations. He's definitely going to have those chances to be able to do that. Kellen Beam, top 10 in sacks given up. I think he is in reference to the Panthers, I believe. They're definitely in. Oh, wait, hold up. No. Let me read that real quick. So the Bears are actually last in the NFL in sacks. So they only have 10 sacks on the year, but they did pick up Washington's defensive end. So that's definitely going to be a unique challenge with how they handle that. There's some pieces there. But look, Carolina has played teams where their opponent is in the bottom third in the league in sacks. Look at the Houston game. Coming into that game, Houston only had 9 sacks on the year. While Carolina won that game, they still gave up 6 sacks in that game. So again, the focal point is going to be how does the offensive line match up tonight? And are they going to do their job in protecting Bryce Young? That's going to be the question. Rock Jones, only 8 games into the season, and all Panther fans are teetering on feelings of indifference. Now, let's talk about Panther fans for a second, because Chris did touch on this just a short while ago, right? There were Panther fans on that flight to Chicago, the one that he was on. And apparently, from what I'm hearing on Twitter, there is quite the presence of Panther fans up in the Windy City. So that's encouraging to see, obviously, with how things have started out this season. The fandom has been tested. And when you look at this comment here, all Panther fans are teetering on feelings of indifference, meaning feelings of apathy, meaning feelings of we just don't care anymore, right? You know, you're 1-7, you're losing all these games week in and week out, and it's like, what's the whole point of tuning in and watching? And yeah, it gets tougher and tougher every week. But when I look at it from my perspective, what's my primary motivation for why I watch this team? For me, it's because I want to see Bryce Young and his progression and his rookie season. How does he continue to improve week by week? I want to see that. And I want to see those building blocks and those stepping stones and those moments where it's rough and those moments where he finds moments of success. Those are my motivations. But for other people, it's hard to justify, and I don't blame them. And while there's going to be a good turnout in Chicago tonight, it looks like they have traveled well and in groups. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to justify investing in this team because of the product that's on the field and the lack of success. Mad Chatter said, "Where is Chris?" He is in Chicago at the game. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, he is currently preserving his voice. Of course, throughout the week, he has had issues with his voice. For whatever reason, he just cannot talk for extended periods of time, and he's trying to rest it up as much as he can in preparation for this game tonight and for the post-game show that we'll have immediately after the game. So Charlie hitting up the comment section with a question regarding Von Bell, which now let's go ahead, and this gives me an opportunity now to look at the inactive list for the Panthers. So let's go ahead and pull that up real quick. We'll give that a second to load, but from the indications, it sounds like he will be active in today's games. So let's go ahead and look at the inactives. So we have 6 here. Brian Burns, Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, that's not a surprise. CJ Henderson, Nash Jensen, and Stephon Sullivan are your inactives. I'll say it one more time for everybody to hear. Brian Burns, Laviska Shenault Jr., DJ Chark, CJ Henderson, Nash Jensen, and Stephon Sullivan. So Von Bell is officially active for today's game. This is the first time I believe he has played in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be good to have him back out there, providing some secondary help. And Rock Jones with another comment in regards to Von Bell. I heard somewhere Bell was going to play tonight, and he is going to play tonight. Good to have him back out there to add some help in the back end. Alec Oven saying, Icky better clamp down, or else I hope next offseason the Christensen left tackle battle is legit and loser stays at left guard. It does, and people did undervalue this. It hurt not having Brady Christensen out there. He got hurt in week 1 and kind of messed with the continuity of the offensive line with him not being out there. And that really messed with the flow of that group and that continuity and consistency. Of course, with Corbett back, that helps a little bit. But with Icky, it's been pretty interesting to see how that whole situation with him and his play has kind of deteriorated over the course of the year. What's good? This is from Helen Keller's Dog. This offensive scheme feels Antiquated and slow, just much like the weapons around Bryce. Hopefully he can pull up or pull off a win. Let's hope so. Tyrone Green with a comment. Von Bell is active, as well as Marquise Haynes. James Woodring. Chicago's quarterback wasn't even drafted. Young better win this game. And let me just touch base on that, right? If Bryce Young and this Panthers team loses to Chicago tonight, with all the storylines surrounding this game, right? The Bears making the trade with Carolina for them to get the first pick. The Panthers giving up their best receiver to acquire their quarterback. Justin Fields not even playing in this game. Deontay Foreman, another former Panther who decided to go elsewhere, and Scott Fitter went elsewhere in getting a different running back. If everything goes against the Panthers in terms of like DJ Moore going off, Deontay Foreman going off, Bryce Young having a poor game, Badgett having a better game than Bryce Young, that's going to sting, guys and girls. That is going to sting. And that's going to be a long flight home. And there are going to be people on that flight who are going to be quite scared when they make it back home to Charlotte, because my oh my, that's going to be a problem. That is going to be a big problem. Just looking through more of these comments here. Apparently there was an echo with Chris's audio. I hope I was able to fix that. So sorry to everybody who had some audio issues experienced there. Eric Schaffer saying that we should mimic what we did with McCaffrey, with Chuba and Miles Sanders, with lots of short passes when we don't have time to throw deep, but without the interceptions. That was the plan, right? With Miles Sanders. When they brought him in, he was supposed to be a McCaffrey-like security blanket for Bryce Young. That hasn't really worked out. And they have used their running backs a lot in the passing game because, to be real with you, that's really the only options who are open in a matter of 2 seconds. Because when you look at the receivers, they take forever to get open. And you need to get open in a matter of 3 seconds, right? That's typically the time frame that you want to adhere by whenever you are running a route. And if you're not breaking the top of your route in 3 seconds and your quarterback has already been sacked, that is an indictment of the personnel that is in the building, and an indictment on the offensive line for their inability to hold up. It's a different issue every week. And sometimes their only offense is through what you were talking about right here, with using the running backs out of the backfield to get some yardage, because that's the only play that's there. It's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see, because I feel like we've seen this for at least 2 or 3 years now with the dink and dunk kind of approach. Chance Hines with a comment here saying, number one thing to fix next year, that offensive line has to get Bryce time. They're going to have to make some investments, whether it's through the draft or through free agency. I think it's going to be through free agency, because the draft, I feel like they're going to use a lot of their capital on getting some weapons, some receivers, maybe a tight end. We definitely could use a tight end. This is another season where that position group has been a disappointment. Eric Schaefer with another comment, Bears going to win just because they have a better run game, and DJ Moore, Foreman, revenge game. It could go down that way. I hope that isn't the case, but I could definitely see it. Chris Mack, you think they move Frankie around a lot to get more pressure? Hey, whatever option works for them, whatever option that's going to get them results, I say do it. there's definitely going to be some players who are going to be in different roles because of the absence of Brian Burns in that front seven. But ultimately speaking, whatever avenue they have to do to make it happen, go for it. Mark Burks, win or lose, I really just want to see the Panthers play like they have an identity. We're in week 10 and they still don't have an identity. Steve Wilkes gave this team an identity in a matter of a couple weeks. Frank Reich, week 10, no identity. Take that as you will. Curtis Peppers commenting there. Panthers for life. Scott Martin. Can't run it up the middle if you don't open up the field. Don't want to see a bunch of runs up the middle for little to no gain. Kent Sullivan. Is Bryce going to stare down his check down? Let me touch on this a little bit here. Are you fully putting that on Bryce? Because yes, there is blame to be had on his end because that was just a poor decision. But you also got to give credit to the defender for being able to undercut that throw because while you would have liked that thrown to be further out to the right, out of the backfield, you also got to give Bryce a little bit of the benefit of the doubt too because his right guard, Austin Corbett, was right in his face when that ball was being thrown. So regardless of the fact, yeah, you got to be accountable for that. But I don't fully put the blame on him for that. I do fully put the blame on two of those interceptions where he had that interception on the screen and then the interception over the middle when he was trying to hit up Hayden Hurst. It was just a poorly thrown ball over the middle. Knucklehead K popping in. What's good? Good to have you on. Jack Wolf with a comment. He could regress like Justin Fields has in Chicago. Again, that's just one of those situations where it all comes down to the situation. And Chicago has just been not the best of circumstances for Justin Fields. And hopefully it doesn't result that way with Bryce Young in Carolina. But so far, he hasn't had much success because of the situation and the lack of talent around him. Danny Trejo, what channel is the game on tonight? That's going to be on Prime. And if you're in Charlotte, it's going to be on Channel 9 WSOC, as Kent said here in his comment. So to everybody, I think I got through a good bit of them. We'll do this one here. This one last one, especially because Chark, Chenault, and Marshall will most likely be gone next year. I think this isn't a comment or a follow-up to this one. I think the line will be better when healthy. But in the draft, we better draft a receiver in rounds 2 and 3. The receiver class is stacked and does have depth. So obviously, they're going to have to go that route because what they have right now today is not going to get the job done. So with that being said, I will offer my prediction and I will get off of here and get ready for this game tonight. I think Carolina has a realistic shot of winning this game if they can do two things. And those two things are play penalty-free, turnover-free football. So don't beat yourself, which is what they've done a lot this season. Don't beat yourself and contain DJ Moore. If they accomplish those two things, they will have a pretty realistic shot of winning. I think Carolina will win this game and go to 2-7. I think they'll win, I'm going to say 17-14. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. Not going to be a pretty out at all. Not going to be the most entertaining game, but I think it's a game that Carolina can most definitely win tonight. Because if they don't, man, it's going to be a rough 10 days leading up until their next game against the Dallas Cowboys. All the narratives and all the media coverage surrounding this team, it's going to get rough if they fall to 1-8. And with all the storylines and all the connections with this game, and if they can't pull it out, that's going to be rough. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. This is it for our pregame show tonight. Follow our content on Instagram and Twitter. I will be on Twitter throughout the game tonight, interacting with all of you, getting pictures up from our guy Patrick Snyder, who was on the field at Chicago's Soldier Field. Be on the lookout for that. And immediately following the game tonight, we will have our post-game show, which will be probably around 11:30 to 11:45. That would be my guess, but nothing's set in stone until we have everything ready to go in that regard. But to everybody who tuned in, and this is a comment that just popped in, Carson Henson, glad to have you on, man. What's up? But to everybody out there tonight, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we will see and witness a Carolina victory. So we'll be on the lookout for that. We'll hope for the best, and if we do lose tonight, hey, I want to hear from all of you in our postgame show. So with that being said, for Charlotte by Chris Jenkins, of all of our crew, Patrick Snyder, I'm Andre Cassidy. We will see you for our postgame show tonight. Be on the lookout for content on Twitter and Instagram.